We want to create a set of change makers who will have a commitment, something that connects them to challenges all around the world.
We also know that learning something in a book and seeing it in real life is not the same.
What this international experience actually does for people, what is the learning, what is the civic engagement?
Experiences like this teach us to appreciate what we have in our lives. If we train next generation what we should do and live after ourselves something that is meaningful and purposeful, I think then we'll succeed as a nation.
So it makes you think not only in the current situation that you're in, but you have to think for the future too.
A lot of what we're doing is about breaking down walls and challenging students not to be fearful, but to be mindful.
We have students from a variety of backgrounds, and these sorts of experiences really introduces them to a whole different spectrum of lives outside of Newark.
Our students understand how impactful they can be when they return, and that it also allows them to think about the commonalities. You know, what we face in Newark, it's challenges that everyone faces throughout the world.
We, on a strong level, really represented what it really means to be fully human in a global world.
One of the things we really believe in is the notion that working locally in a very deep way translates and resonates with what's happening elsewhere.
When they come back to Newark, they come back to our community, they'll be well versed in how to address issues as well as policies.
Oftentimes, students didn't just go on a trip. They had to do some work beforehand. They had to usually do some work after they returned. That all added to not just the experiential part where they did a service for the people who lived in the particular places that they visited, but it also added an academic component. Being able to take advantage of these short experiential learning opportunities provided by the university were extremely helpful for them.
So much so that when we came home, all the students that went developed projects for positive social change. So these are students that not only see hands-on what the situation is, but then they come home and they follow it up with really positive solutions.
Global affairs, global initiatives is one way that we can really expand upon that idea. That is, we send students out to other countries and they can apply the things that they've learned in the classroom here very directly.
So when I think about our students, I think about my own personal experience. When people come from a place, when they stay in a neighborhood or a community or a state here and don't travel beyond that, their perspectives tend to be singular. They see the world, the inhabitants of the world, and the problems that those people experience from a singular perspective. They can only see people and problems from how they have learned to see. When students travel, even if it's out of state, domestic travel, but to go to another country where you see through other people's eyes and you understand that the way you imagine people to be is not necessarily the way people are. It's so important that our students get to see problems from multiple perspectives, to engage in real-world problems with a world of people to solve these complex problems.
These experiences add to their research. Being able to go to another country that they may have an interest in, and working and doing research and gathering data.
So when I came to Rutgers, I saw that there was a calling for, participation in the OGIEL, and I met with my advisor, Jody, and I said to her, this is something that I would be interested in because, I do research around human trafficking, and I would love to visit an organization to see in India firsthand how they respond to issues like human trafficking, sexual exploitation, and sex work.
And being able to go and visit the places where the students are working and some of the nonprofits that they're working with, and understanding the landscape, political, socioeconomic, cultural landscape, helps me to also help the students with their work.
We, as students of Rutgers University, are already representations. when we get our diploma and we do things, people are going to look at us as outcomes of Rutgers University.
Having these conversations with people, explaining what we went through, explaining what we saw, things that sometimes you can only read through textbooks, or not even through textbooks, you just hear about it. And to actually sit down and have these conversations and open up that dialogue.
Your actions are bigger than what you think, in the positive and the negative way. Whatever you do good is good, but things that you can do bad is affecting people not only where you are, but cross borders, cross oceans.
We have so much interaction with international perspectives, international issues, and people from very, very diverse backgrounds and cultures.
You realize how quickly you can learn on the fly. That's one thing that was very beneficial for this group, is that we all were like, okay, what's next? What's the next move? This messed up, so what do we have to do?
What I really got from this experience is, the capacity building part. We're on the ground, I'm explaining to people how to use this. And I think the bigger picture was how to teach people to live in a sustainable way.
When we're in a reciprocal nature with someone, that we're not only giving, but we're also receiving. And I think one of the strong gifts that Rutgers Newark brings is this strong, beautiful understanding of diversity. We have diversity of spirit, but we're also diverse beings.
I got to figure out how to teach outside of the classroom. I got to witness how someone else does experiential learning. And I got to work with an incredible group of students with all sorts of backgrounds and concentrations and interests.
I think that that's our primary responsibility, is to provide opportunities and to inspire students to see travel abroad as something that's tangible and that's important and something that they should continually strive and work for.